Tom here with another Transformers review, and this is the KO Oversized Bovis. This is part of the Rex set that Surtoys and many other online retailers are selling, but I got this one from Surtoys, and his quality is really good. He actually feels pretty decent. He holds his weapons well. He comes with these two swords and then the two guns, and he's solid. They did a really good job. He's not super hollow. He's just a really good figure. So we're going to get into talking about the accessories really quick. So for the accessories, we got these two swords. If you guys can see them pretty well. They're nice, well painted. They're actually pretty decent. Came with two identical swords. And you can plug them onto the arm, or you can have him hold them. And then he also came with these guns. And also, I mean, if you really want to get into it and you want to talk about the fact that that he came with, you know, like he's a leg, so he'd probably have one of these feet with him too. But no, they all came as a set, so he didn't have any of the combiner accessories except for these. I mean, these combine into the gun and the sword. So that's pretty much it for accessories. So first, before we get into any transformations, we're going to take a look at the articulation for this guy. And so basically, he has identical articulation for the most part to the MMC version. He just doesn't have wrist swivels. So he has a double jointed elbow, which for transformation purposes gets you all the way up to there. He has the shoulder, which gets him up to there. Maybe, yep, up to there. He can spin all the way around 360 degrees. The head is kind of limited, especially because of the arms, but if you get the arms out of the way, he can swivel from, still pretty limited because of the sculpt. You can get him to get a little bit better of a swivel, but he really can barely look up or down. It's just because it's part of the bull head. So, I mean, you really can't get too much out of him. The paint's nice. They did a good job with the paint on the line work is actually pretty decent. I mean, it looks like this is orange painted onto gray plastic, but they did a pretty decent job with the lines. So, I mean, he looks pretty good. They got this paint on the chest. The face is painted pretty decently well. It's not that bad at all. The other arm, same articulation. There's no difference. Oh, and then, sorry, I forgot to mention there's a upper, I guess, bicep swivel. So the legs, he has, his feet are on this, like, peg back here, and it allows him to have, like, an ankle tilt, kind of, but you can also move them back and forth. I'm not sure if that's identical to the way the MMC one was, but it's nice. It actually works really well. He has these flaps here for, I guess, so you can get different, like, deeper poses and whatnot, and it doesn't look weird then. So that's pretty cool. It's nice that they did that. He does have a full 90 on the knee, which is really nice. You can get a full 90 on that. The paint down here is done really well. He's got some nice line work. This, again, is painted well. The lines are done really well. They were able to keep that pretty clean. And the pelvis, they did that. He has a waist swivel. The legs go all the way back this far. So, you know, as far as you could ever want them to go. They go all the way out that far. So, yet again, as far as you'd ever want them to go. And then they go because of... So there's an issue here. So I hope you guys can see that. I'm going to get the arm out of the way to make sure you can see it. But there's this piece right here, and I didn't transform it on this side, and I left it, and I transformed it on this side. So if you pull this piece out, it rotates from the back up to the front. It hinders the rotation or the articulation for the leg forward. Now this one's fine forward. You can get quite a bit more. Backwards, now this one's articulated or hindered. So it's kind of backwards and forward. I mean, it depends. Like, if you wanted to try and do, like, a pose with his leg back like this and then his knee forward or something, it's easier with this one not transformed to this one transformed to get him to do a pose like that. So it's really not that big of a deal. But, you know, it's something to think about. You know, and I believe that's the exact same thing in the MMC one. I don't have them to, you know, so I can be certain, but to get him to do like a pose like that, it's easier to not have this transformed on this side, because otherwise you would already be having clearance issues. Now, because of transformation, there's also like a butterfly joint here, but it does kind of screw the sculpt up a little bit. You know, just something to keep in mind. So that's it. I'm going to transform him into his robot, or his beast mode now. Okay, so for me, usually the best spot to start is the arms, because they're pretty simple and it's nice to have them out of the way. So you just fold both the hands in, and then there's a tab, a hole right here, and there's a tab on the arm right here. So then you take this and you just get this to line up, and then it fills in that hole right there, and that's pretty much it for getting that transformed. Now this hoof is on a peg right here, and then this folds down, and these are supposed to snap in there, but they don't snap in too well. So then you rotate it here, and you rotate it down here, and then that's pretty much it for that arm. Now the head is also equally as simple. You can just take the face, and sometimes you got to give it a little bit of help, and it pops in, folds down like that, and that's exactly where the head's going to be for them. So you rotate the arms down, just like that. Rotate the waist, but not rotating these. You got to hold these in place, otherwise they rotate with the waist. So these guys can stay here. We got to pop these back parts off the legs. So pull the feet down. That's the easiest way to do it. Lift that up, this flap right here, and then this leg is just going to fold over on itself, and I did do this right, because this piece allows for this to be folded in like that. So we just want to fold this up, and then we want to do that. Okay, so this is going to fold in like that, this folds in like that. We want to get the foot, we have to, the only way I found to do this is to get this to like straddle this almost, and then once you do that, you can rotate it back around, just like that. And that closes back up. There's a tab right here. There's a slot in here. That tabs right onto there. And then push the legs together as good as you can. Mine's a little bit funky right there, but not too bad. So we untab this right here. Rotate, rotate, and rotate. And that is him in his beast mode. So I'm going to throw some accessories on him, and we're going to talk about him. Bovis actually has a pretty decent amount of articulation, aside from the head, in his beast mode. So the head is kind of limited. It allows him to move back and forth a tiny bit. If the gun's not in the way, you can see it a little bit. It looks down, but kind of screws up the mold a little bit. It's not terrible. And he can't look up at all. So that's pretty much it as far as that's concerned. The guns have a cool feature. This peg on the side, it's on each side, is like a circular shaped peg, so you can put it into the legs, which makes it really cool. So the legs have similar articulation to what they did in the robot mode. They also are allowed, they will go out that way. You know, they'll go away from the body. They have a ball joint up here at the like bicep, I guess you consider it, and a ball joint down here at the foot. Same thing on this side, there's no difference. This leg has the exact same thing. It doesn't get as far out. You can see it doesn't get as far out as the front leg. It kind of gets hindered like right there. But it has the ball joint, same ball joint right there, up at the upper bicep, I guess you'd call it. And then the foot also has that as well. He does have a waist swivel, but you really wouldn't use that in a bull mode. But that's pretty much it. The paint is pretty decent on here. Let me get this out of the way. So I didn't get to show this in robot mode, but they have some silver done up there, and some silver over here on this side, same thing. But this, I guess this shows off the fact that they actually did a good job color matching him. You know, I mean, he looks pretty close to what the MMC one does. And from other people showing pictures, he actually is really painted well, and they did a really good job with that. But that's it for articulation for the beast mode. I'm going to get into the transformation from beast mode to the leg mode. The reason I chose to do this from the beast mode to leg mode is because that's honestly the easiest way to do this. So you just rotate this back to here, and then this will tab in right here, and then also right down there there's a tab. That tabs in. You just rotate this, and then rotate this. Inside of here, there's a tab, and there's a hole in the back of the foot right here. And now this is going to tab directly onto here. You just kind of have to give it a little bit of leverage, and then it's on. Just buttoning some things up. Get this rotated around. You gotta rotate this, and then rotate this. And then once we got that like that, they'll slide right onto there. And we can tab this into here. You gotta take the head, and the head will slide forward. And I like to rotate these down just because they tend to get in the way. And then we got to pop the legs apart, and this foot slides into there. Oh, I have this. There we go. Got to be able to get that to rock back a little bit more. Okay. Now that I got that in there, let's see if we can't get that to close. All right. So the combiner port for this guy is inside here, and it's really hard to get out. So you got to use it like a screwdriver and get in there and like help it out. But once you get it up, it's really, really, really strong. I was amazed that on the KO that combiner port was that strong. And that is him in his leg mode. So I'm going to get this guy back into his robot mode, and we'll do some size comparisons, and then after that we'll go ahead and do final thoughts. Okay guys, we're going to do some size comparisons really quick, just so you guys can see how he stands next to Apollyon and MP10. So this works really well as well. I mean, I think as far as Masterpiece scale is concerned, these guys hit the size just right. And as far as the quality is concerned, they're pretty damn close too. You know, like I said on the Leodux review, if they had some wrist swivels, they would be pretty much damn near the same quality. They're great figures. He's about a little bit. So with the top of the bullhead, he's about the same height as the two of them, but from the top of his actual head, he's almost a head shorter than them. But as far as the scale works, that's fantastic. So we're going to get into some final thoughts in a couple seconds. For Bovis, I think he is also fantastic. I think the plastic quality is great. Everything tabs in very well. The feet, which I was kind of worried about because I know even on MMC that was kind of an issue, actually work extremely well on this guy. I've had very few issues with standing him up. He doesn't really topple over that easy, and I mean they did a really good job as far as that's concerned. There were some improvements I've been told on this. I don't have the other set, so I don't know what they are, but as far as paint's concerned and the plastic quality, this is a great figure. I have a couple stress marks on some of the smaller parts, but none of it is important to the figure as far as the structural issues. When it comes to, like, I think these flaps right here, and I can't even tell if it looks more like it's not a stress mark and it's like where the sprue came off. So it's kind of hard to tell. Honestly, this guy, along with Leodux and all the other figures, when it comes to the set, they are fantastic. And this is a great figure on its own. Just like with Leodux, it works out to be about $25 to get him with the set, buy him, if you were to say this figure was $25. And for $25, this figure is fantastic. So I would highly recommend him. If you get a chance, go to Sir Toys, order the set, and hope you guys stick around for the rest of the reviews.